Nature's requirements for raising Kundalini are not very demanding. Any healthy person of the opposite sex can serve as a sufficient partner to help us raise our Kundalini, even if there is a large age difference between the partners. But for the sake of a healthy and sustainable relationship, it is in our interest to choose the right partner for this work. When looking for a long-term partner who can help you practice Tantra, the Kabbalah Tree of Life can even be referred to for this application. The bottom two spheres of the Tree of Life, Malkut and Yasod, represent the physical and energetic world. What this means in terms of choosing a partner is that this is where we find a person's physical health, appearance, and attractiveness, taste in physical things like fashion, art, sports, hobbies, and food, as well as their lifestyle, routine, and biological sex. The next sphere after those two is Hod, which corresponds with emotion. Since our emotions tend to have a strong influence over our values and morals, we can say that Hod relates to values. Sometimes we characterize people as being passionate, others warm or warm-blooded, and some as cool, collected, or even cold-blooded. These terms generally relate to our temperament. So a passionate person expresses a lot of enthusiasm and zeal. They are adventurous, restless, impatient, and many are short-tempered. People who are warm or warm-blooded are friendly, supportive, sensitive, emotional, and sentimental. Along with this, they tend to have an unwavering moral conduct. Warm-blooded people generally like people, but prefer to spend most of their time alone at home or with a few friends. These kinds generally don't feel the need to go out regularly, especially at night. Those who we consider cool are reasonable, level-headed, analytical, and often logical. With strong reasoning and emotional control, they also tend to be realistic and down-to-earth. Similar to those with warm temperaments, cool folks like to stay cool by keeping under the shade and spending much of their time at home by themselves or with just a few of their closest friends. Simple, practical, reliable, and easy to entertain, cool folks are in it for the long run and will almost never let you down. Cool temperaments are not overly emotional and tend to be inclined either to intellectualism or hands-on activities. Cool people tend to be deeply immersed and preoccupied in their own world. This will either have you two hitting it off because the both of you share the same level of passion for the same thing, or leave you lost in an unfamiliar jargon when you ask them about their activities and interests. If you take certain hobbies and subjects very seriously, then cool folks will have the depth of interest to provide you with rich conversations as well as the company to do the same activities together. But if you have your hands dipped in many pies and you prefer to balance out your life by doing a little bit of everything all the time, then you're probably someone who gets bored easily and requires more variety and less routine in relationships. This brings me to the next sphere on the Tree of Life, Netzach. Netzach is the intellectual level of the mind. All the activity of our ideas, thoughts, and problem-solving happen in this dimension. People with an abundance of intellectual energy tend to be on the cooler side of the emotional spectrum. But those whose psychic energies are equally balanced between Hod and Netzach have the right amount of emotional sensitivity and sincerity, along with reasoning. Similar to passionate types, intellectually dominant people are enthusiastic, laugh a lot, have a great sense of humor, and are very active and social. If you're looking for fun, stimulating conversation, adventure, and possibly a science lab partner, these airwalkers would be your choice. However, with the amount of open-mindedness and intellectualism they carry, these people can be indecisive, restless, forgetful, unreliable, and weak in moral conduct. If you had the ability to persuade almost anyone in any situation or come up with endless excuses as to why you weren't guilty of something you did, would you use these skills? These types just might. It can also be hard to find this kind of active partner who won't lose interest in the relationship after a few weeks or months. In Hinduism, the aforementioned psychological temperaments are found and organized within the 4 terrestrial skandhas or tattvas. These are the 4 elements of nature. Many of us have heard of them: fire, water, earth, air. And just as the changing of seasons can result in weather that is somewhere between winter and spring, or spring and summer, the psychic aggregates, or tattvas, we are born with that constitute our personality are usually a mixture of energies, rather than just one type. Pray to your being to find someone who is right for you, and rest assured you will in due time find someone with the right balance of energies. Now, there is one particular precaution I should mention before you set out to look for your spiritual partner or long-term spouse, and that is your karma. Many of us are still caught within a painful recurrence narrative with a soulmate who we met in the distant past, many lifetimes ago. These are the relationships we find ourselves in that carry the greatest tragedies, betrayals, and conflicts. So to avoid entering back into this repeating cycle of relationship trauma, it is advised to investigate potential partners in meditation. I have also personally found looking up the astrological natal charts of people remarkably helpful in guiding my decision-making. To do this, you will need to enter the person's full date of birth into an astrology natal birth chart calculator to get a reasonably accurate result. I prefer to use Cafe Astrology, as it's simple and offers a lot for a free astrology calculator. You will get the best result if you include their time of birth or the period of day, such as early morning, late morning, afternoon, etc. But if you don't know the time of birth, then their moon sign could be ahead or before the afternoon by about 7 degrees. The difference this makes is moderate, but worth considering, as their lunar psychic qualities or subconsciousness will either be a mixture between 2 zodiac signs or completely occupied by just one sign. A person's inherent personality and tendencies from birth originate from the sun sign, otherwise known as the star sign, the moon sign, and the rising or ascendant sign. Many people argue that to know a person's personality, you must refer to their entire natal chart. But this is not necessary to get a strong, general understanding of someone's characteristics. This is because the sun and the moon are directly responsible for influencing our personality and self-expression. The other planets we find in our chart, such as Mercury, Venus, and Mars, carry the responsibility of fulfilling other aspects of our lives, such as our love life, friend and partnerships, karmic bonds with authority figures, or those we are limited by, and temptations that can either do great harm or promote spiritual growth if transformed in an upright manner. So go ahead and enter the other person's birth information into a free astrological natal chart report and see what you find. All the zodiac signs move through each month or planetary orbit for 30 degrees of measurement. This means that any sign in your chart will reveal a result within 30 degrees. So results before 15 degrees have some influence from the cusp sign that comes before it, and results after 15 degrees will be influenced by the cusp sign that comes after it. A cusp is a placement of a zodiac sign that is within 4 degrees of another sign. But even a sign that is 7 or 10 degrees away from another sign will have some influence from it. So always take into consideration cusps and signs that otherwise have a strong influence over the ones that show up in plain sight. Unfortunately, no transmutation can occur for same-sex couples since the polarity of the vital bodies of both partners are the same. Sexual transmutation and creation can only occur when active and receptive energies are combined. The body circulates electricity just like a battery, because it is a battery. And batteries only function when positive and negative polarities are connected properly. Real love between a couple is the necessary ingredient that will encourage and inspire the fire of Kundalini to ignite and rise up the spinal medulla during the practice. To learn more about this sacred, invaluable teaching, refer to the audiobooks on my channel titled Kundalini Yoga and The Yellow Book. They can be found in the playlist Samael Aun Baoar Lectures and Books. Good luck and have a good week.